Hello, everyone. I do hope everyone's doing well. Um, we have a demo here. This is going to be around Dynamics 365, um, covering about specifically about four modules. Dynamics 365 itself is it's an ecosystem of modules, right? So we'll have a presentation here for about four of them that we have worked with the most. So, all right, sounds good. We'll go ahead and get started. Um, let's All right, so basically the agenda today, we'll do a quick overview of Dynamics 365, then we'll move into the core capabilities, which include customization, integration options, um, uh, in our intelligence and insights. Then we'll look into security and compliance. Again, this is more of a high level. Dynamics 365 itself is a very robust application. So if anyone will want to go deeper into any of the specific areas during the next demo, just feel free to let me know. Um, then we'll talk about some of the competitive advantages that it has over the biggest competitor, which is Salesforce. Industry relevance, right? Part of these slides were targeted towards pharmaceuticals, so we'll look into that a little bit, and then we can do some of the demos live within the application. All right, so let's look at the overview here. So again, as I mentioned, Dynamics 365 is a suite of different applications that serve different purposes to almost any industry, right? But the major ones are basically sales, um, marketing, customer service. Those are the very primary three ones. And then you also have field service, you have operations, you have finance, and a few others that are not listed here, Business Central, right? So there's quite a few, but we'll mainly cover sales, marketing, customer service, and field service in this demo today. All right. So these are the four modules that we're going to be covering today here, right? So we do have the sales modules, which is basically focused on lead and opportunity management, right? So if an understanding of you have a lead and then that lead has to be somehow nurtured and converted into an opportunity where you can sell them a product, right? So that process is mainly managed on the sales module. Then you have the customer service, which is basically used to mainly handle support cases. So it has built-in capabilities to really make sure that process is efficient and also smooth to customer care agents. So you have things like SLA tracking, whereby you can SLA tracking is basically you can set different priorities for different cases and how they need to be responded to and handled. So you can say critical cases need to be at least responded by within an hour and resolved within a day, right? And then medium level severity can be also customized in a different way. And then this will all be tracked in the system. And you can also create things, you can create what's called routing, which basically will be able to route and assign specific SLAs based on certain conditions on the case. You have the marketing module, which is basically used to build what is called customer journeys or campaigns, basically. You want to send out mass campaign emails or text messages or social media posts, then this is a module that allows you that and track all the activities of those campaign items back into Dynamics 365. And then you have field service management, right, which is basically used to handle resource scheduling and manage on-site services. So, for example, for a pharmaceutical company that has X-ray, that sells X-ray machines, you could have agents who go out there and service these X-ray machines or repair them and all that. So this is where you're able to create work orders, manage your resources, and then assign those resources to those work orders. You can track how they're functioning. I give them access, offline access on the site. Uh, and some other devices also have IoT capabilities, whereby it's able, when something is running not as expected, right? Parts are missing or parts are broken or running low on certain components. Then it could automatically use the IoT capabilities to push requests to Dynamics 365, and you can react on it by creating a case and automatically assigning somebody to go look at it. So there's quite a lot of capabilities within Dynamics 365. It's highly customizable, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes it's not a good thing, right? Highly customizable, that means you can fit it into basically any industries out there, be it finance, pharmaceuticals, aviation, right? Um, you can fit pretty much anywhere. The downside of it is since it's highly customizable, then you can get yourself into a rabbit hole, right? Making simple things very complicated, right? All right. Any questions up to that point? Okay. If no questions, let's talk about core capabilities, which I've already kind of covered a little bit, right? We do have the Dynamics 365 for sales, which provide robust tools for managing leads and opportunities throughout the sales lifecycle, right? Users can capture these leads from multiple sources. For example, you had an event and you capturing your leads from there, right? Or, it could be a conference that you're holding, right? You're hosting, right? But yeah, you capture them, you qualify them based on predefined criteria within the within the application, right? So, based on how you feel about that lead, you can qualify them and convert them into an opportunity, right? So you can set those criteria within the system, and that's can be automatically be qualified. For best example is working with tying marketing and sales together, whereby you send out marketing campaigns and you track email interactions. And based on how many clicks somebody or have on that email or how many times they open that email, you can automatically track that information and set a threshold, right? If you send 3 marketing emails and somebody opens all of them, then you automatically qualify them as a lead, right? So, or as an opportunity. So you can have those kind of automations, and these modules can basically work very closely together. Okay. So the system tracks interactions, schedules follow-ups, and provides AI-driven scoring to prioritize efforts. Sales pipeline are visualized through customizable dashboards, enable managers to focus revenue and identify bottlenecks. So basically, you can see when you go to the application, you'll be able to see that you have a dashboard that shows you the pipeline and what stage each of the leads and opportunities are in, right? And you can build something that's called business process flow, and you can track them through those stages. So integration with Outlook, right, and ensure that communication are logged automatically, while mobile access also allows teams to update records on the go, right? This Outlook integration whereby you can actually send emails back and forth and track contacts directly into Dynamics 365. And also there's a mobile app, Dynamics 365 mobile app that you can install and access some of the functionalities on the mobile. All right. Any questions up to that point? Okay. Customer service. So we talked about customer service being mainly used for support cases, right? And I think within Anomaly, we have our own customer service one that we are leveraging that is tied to our Power Pages. Right. So basically, customer service provide a robust set of tools for managing customer support cases and ensuring timely resolution, which basically includes features like SLA tracking, which we talked about, case routing, right, based on specific conditions of the case, and knowledge base, right? So knowledge base, this is where you basically have articles and other AI-powered information that help agents to be able to solve cases. So you could have questions will come in, do I do something? You already have that as a knowledge article, which can be immediately sent back to the customer and close that case. So you can build that knowledge article based on the documents that you already have. You can upload them, right? You can also write some from scratch, and you can also generate some using AI. And the platform also supports what we call omni-channel engagement that allows customers to reach support via chat, email, phone, or social media. So this is it's called omni-channel. You configure that, and you can allow interaction between your agents and your customers through other means other than the traditional email. Right? You can do phones through text messages. You can initiate phone calls within Dynamics 365. You can do chats and also Facebook and X if you want to. Right, you also have some automation there where we have Copilot, which enhances agent productivity by summarizing cases and recommending responses. Case come in, it has a description. You have Copilot that can run through that and provide a summary, high-level summary of what the case is about. And it can also suggest recommendation responses based on the catalog of already cases that you have or based on the knowledge base that you have built. You also have real-time dashboards, which provide insights into case volumes, resolution times, customer satisfaction scores, right? Uh, and also you do have integration with other with teams, which facilitate communication, collaboration, while the automation tools also streamline workflows and ensure consistent service during delivery. So with the real-time dashboards here, again, this can be integrated with Power BI, and you can view Power BI dashboard right within Dynamics 365. All right, any questions in regards to marketing?
I did have a question.
Yes.
Sort of a dumb one, but how are the marketing emails tracked? The ones that are emailed, sent to inboxes. Does the tracking happen right from the inbox?
Yes. So the way it works, it uses something called a tracking token, right? And this tracking token is embedded into the email itself, right? Which all the links and the buttons within the email body itself. So you build an email template, which is HTML, right? And then Dynamics 365 itself will inject some of the events in each of those clickable sections. And every time a user clicks in any of those, it automatically sends that click info back to Dynamics.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. And then we'll see, and you can, once the campaign is going out, people open the emails, you can actually go and look at the analytics of that email that was sent out. And it gives you something called a heat map. It shows you where people click the most, right? And it color codes that. And you can also see who actually clicked on those links. So it's very, very detailed. All right, good question. Any other question? All right, so we've covered sales. Just think about sales of, for capturing and managing leads and opportunities, right? You want to sell them something. And then marketing is basically, again, creating campaigns, sending those out and tracking how exactly people are responding to those campaigns, right? Through different channels. Could be emails, phone messages, or social media as well. All right. Just a second here. All right. So marketing, right? We just covered. What did we cover back here? Yeah, customer service, and then now let's talk about marketing, right? Again, marketing, as mentioned, is basically able to send campaigns, email campaigns out, and see how that is responded to, right? So you can create and manage multi-channel campaigns, and channel layer based means which means are you sending it out? Is it email? Is it text messages? Is it chat? So all that can be created, and within a single campaign, you can have all those channels send out, and it will track, interaction from all those channels. Right? You do have the customer journey orchestration. This is basically where you decide how this campaign will flow from end to end, right? You could say this campaign has 5 emails that need to be sent out, and you can automate that in the sense of the first day, email 1 goes out, right? And then you can say if somebody opens email 1, the second days after they open, send the second one, right? And then after that, wait 3 days, send the third one. But you can also say, okay, what if they don't open the first one? You can resend the first one, right? So you can build that journey through how you want to see the customer navigate through that um, journey to the very end. And it will track that per customer, right? So there's those who will go through it very, very quickly, open all the emails through, and then at the very end, you decide, okay, what do you want to do with them? And you can throw them into the sales module as a lead, right? So that the salespeople now can follow up with them, right? And then those ones who will not be able to even open the email, right? But you can see actually how many people open, how many did not open, right? And you can take action based off of that. Of course, there will be bounced emails because those email boxes may not be working, so you can track those ones as well. That those who will part of the marketing service journey template creation is you must provide an unscribe link, right? So there are those that who also unscribe. So they will see how many people also unscribed, and when they unscribe, Dynamics 365 will automatically mark them as not to send marketing emails in Dynamics 365. So it automatically unsubscribes them in the system. Right, you have segmentation, which basically you can build your campaign to target specific regions. You can say this campaign is for only, for only people in Texas, or this is only for only men because it's a men product, right? Or whatever, right? So you can, whenever you create a segment, you can specify what conditions qualify people to be added onto that segment. And you can also configure that. Does it apply to only existing contacts in the system or even the new one? If you add a new contact later, do they get automatically put into the segment and the campaign start for them if they meet the condition? And of course, you do have analytics. One of those is a heat map where you can able to open up the email and you can see where people click the most, who click over there, right? And also you can look at the rates of open rates and bounce rates and stuff like that. All right, and here we have integration with sales module, which is again, as I said, it aligns marketing efforts with lead management. Once you, track a customer through the journey, and you feel like, okay, customers are very responsive to these campaigns, and you can automatically qualify them into a lead, and they'll go into the sales app, and the sales team can pick them up from there. All right, let's talk about field service. Again, field service is basically for work order management, right? This is basically where service requests are created, and then you do a resource scheduling, right? You have your technicians, you specify the routes, you specify their working hours, right? Availability, right? You can also do inventory tracking, right? Whereby you can basically you have your list of equipment that you may be out in the field, and you can when you do the resource scheduling, right, you pick which work order, which technician, and which tools or which equipment is to be serviced, right? And then again, you can monitor parts if they do have IoT capabilities, right? So if they can communicate back into the Azure cloud and send information about them. Right, predictive maintenance, again, if you have IoT, you can basically, and for example, for a construction company, they have this device called Fleet Service, which basically, it comes with a gadget, you plug it into your OEDB, and then it sends out information about that equipment, right? So it could be an excavator, and then it shows what is the oil life percentage, right? How much fuel is in there. And this also can be captured and sent into this AI service. And from there, you can automatically get those predictive maintenance, right? Yeah, this is due for maintenance in the next 5 days based on the usage and where the life is at the time. You also have mobile access, right? Technicians can update these services while on the job in real time through the mobile app. Any questions? All right, let's look at the customization and integration of this Dynamics 365. Let's say it's highly customizable, right? Which again can be a blessing or a curse, right? Um, so there's extensive customization capabilities that allows organization to basically tailor their platform to their specific needs, right? That is basically any industry, right? And part of that is customization with low code, right? Which allows you basically to create new entities, custom entities. By default, you have some of the entities that come out of the box. We have with contacts, accounts, and cases, depending on which model you use. But you can also extend that with your own. Um, just a second here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you can also extend that with your own, creating your own custom entities that do not exist, right? An entity is basically a table, right? A model of a table, right? You specify your fields, um, and then you can also create forms, which basically are used as a create form or view form. You can also create workflows using local tools within the Power Platform. So for those familiar with Power Platform, you can write cloud flows that automate a lot of functionalities within Dynamics 365. There's a lot of connectors, right? So you can trigger some on create, on update, on delete of any records within Dynamics 365. There's also what we call classic workflow within Dynamics 365 itself, right? Provides a lot of functionality as well, but the goal within Microsoft is to move everything to cloud flows. You can also extend this um, if you are, some requirements are very complex and requires you to write an actual code. So you can build something called a plugin, which is a C# code that you can write and register that and specific events within the application. Um, Right, and then you do have integration with collaboration tools. You can integrate these modules with SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, Outlook, right? And you can bring those functionalities. For example, within Teams, you can really work on your Dynamics 365 application cases and records within Teams successfully. The same thing within Outlook. Of course, you can manage your contacts, track them into Dynamics 365. You can track the emails, right? And track if you want to. Um, And then you also have third-party application integrations. There's a lot of the Power Platform has a lot of connectors, right? And one of the examples given the other day is, uh, you know, things have evolved so much that now a lot of companies are handling a lot of cases, support cases through, of course, social media. People post on companies' Facebook, and you need to be able to somehow to pick that up, where they'll have somebody watching through the posts every day, or you can automate that in the sense that you can use a Facebook connector within Dynamics 365 to grasp any post that is made, and then you can automatically throw that into Dynamics 365. Or you can even add a layer of processing where you can send that to Azure AI service, do sentimental analysis on that, and that will tell you if you really need to create a case and respond to it. So there's a lot of capabilities that you can have. Uh, any questions? Yeah. Right. Reporting and insights. Of course, real-time reporting, Power BI. Again, you can feed Dynamics 365 data into Power BI. You can, customize that the way you want. Keep in mind that Dynamics 365 has its own dashboard. It's not as robust as Power BI, but it could serve your purpose if that's what you want. AI predictive analytics. This has been very, very common recently, where now you have AI reading your case summary and providing, insights on how to respond to it, linking the description to and searching through the knowledge base and automatically giving you, okay, share this documentation, and also looking through historically at the cases or records that already exist in the system. Copilot automation, right? Just a way within Outlook, you have Copilot. You can summarize emails, suggest responses. You can do this within Dynamics 365. And also the fact that it integrates with Outlook, you can still do it within Outlook, which will track into Dynamics 365. Right. So there's quite a good number of data-driven decisions, which basically now with AI has been, enhanced, right? So everywhere within the application, there's Copilot sitting there. You can turn that off if you don't want to, but just depend on your company policy. All right, let's talk a little bit about security. So that is one of the usually the biggest concern, especially for customers who are looking to go to Dynamics 365. Most of the modules are online. It used to be on premise up until 2018, 2019. So Dynamics 365 2016 on premise, I think, was a very and then Dynamics 365, I think in 2017 there was one version on premise, but most of the effort has been in the cloud. So the question is, what security do we have, right? How that is protected, right? So we have something at a very high level is, of course, you have a license. You need to have Dynamics 365 license to be assigned to you for you to access the system. Beyond that, there's something called roles within the system itself. The role basically it gives you access to relevant tables, and you can also customize what exactly people can do with this within those tables. So can they create, can they delete, can they update, can they assign, can they um, you know yeah, can they run reports against that record. So that is on the roles. Even further, we have something called field level security. You could have a customer record and you only want somebody at a very high level to be able to see their social security number on that field. So you can actually customize specific fields for security that only specific people can see it. So multiple layers of security there. Multi-factor authentication, of course, you reuse Entra ID, or previously known as Active Directory, for multi-factor authentication. Compliance with industry standards. So it does support compliance with GXP, HIPAA, as well as GDPR. Audit trails and encryption, right? You can turn what is called auditing on these entities, and you can see everything that happens or happened on that specific record. Every single change of every single field, who did it, when it was done, what was changed, what it was before, and what is the new value that was changed to. So you can enable that, and also you can enable data encryption. Any questions as far as security here? All right. So again, initially there's some slides again were targeted for a pharmaceutical company, right? So this advantage is basically over Salesforce. Salesforce is the biggest competitor. Back in 2017, Microsoft wanted to acquire Salesforce for $22 billion. That was the offer, but they wanted 50 billion at the time. So the deal didn't go through, and Microsoft decided not to invest a lot into Dynamics 365 to be able to compete. So advantages is basically, Microsoft ecosystem, right? Again, Dynamics 365 integrates very well with already other Microsoft applications, Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive. Right, unified licensing model, right? Unified licensing across CRM and ERP modules, so total cost of ownership, right? Things do change a lot with licensing, so this information will probably need to verify that if we ever get there. And then embedded AI features, of course, you have Copilot embedded into the application. The thing is, Salesforce do have their own AI as well, but with Copilot, this can access data even outside the CRM software or Dynamics 365 itself, right? And then you also have customization via Power Platform and availability of other third-party applications, which is a very, very big ecosystem there. All right, we talk about industry relevant. This was basically for the pharmaceutical cases like clinical trial management, right? Dynamics 365 supports clinical trial management by securely handling patient data, right? So you have the SLA that we talked about, right? That you can track that and see, okay, which one are you not meeting, which one are you meeting and exceeding, right? You also have the security that we talked about, field level security and role security that you can apply to data. Regulatory and compliance, right? We talk about HIPAA, that it's supported within Dynamics 365. We have customer engagement insights, AI tools, Power BI that you can embed within the forms. and of course, the operation efficiency. We did have a few other that will not go through here, a few edge cases that, companies, pharmaceutical companies have actually implemented Dynamics 365. All right, let's go and take a look at the demo. All right, so we'll start with the Dynamics 365 cells. Again, within our environment, we do have these trials created. They usually last about 30 days, right? And we have about 23 days left. So if anyone would like to go in there and uh, do your own personal learning and training, feel free to do so. If you have access issues, just let me know. But first, we'll start to look at the general outlook, right? The general alignment of the page. They're very, very similar, right? At the very top, of course, you have your the blue ribbon here, right? This can be the color. You can change the color if you want to. One thing you realize within Dynamics 365, one of the things that is actually prohibited in customization is DOM manipulation, right? So it's prohibited that you go in there and write your JavaScript to be able to move things around, change colors and all that stuff. And the reason for that is some of these selectors for these controls and fields are dynamically generated, right? So you open in a record and there's a field there, the ID that you will use to do DOM manipulation with JavaScript, that ID is typically dynamically generated, and it could be the ID of the record. So that means every time that you open a different record, that control has a different ID, and your JavaScript will fail all the time. So DOM manipulation are prohibited, right? You can build your own custom components and embed that into the form, right? With your own JavaScript and CSS and HTML, right? But you at the very top, you have the name of application here, right? And then at the very right, of course, you have a few things. You have the search. This is going to give you what is called global search, right? You can search through all the records within the application, right? You have I think if there's any insights or notifications, you'll be able to see that over there. You can quickly create a record, right? Any record, right? Create a plus here, and you can customize what kind of records you want to be able to quickly create. So you can come here, click the button, and I can create an account, contact, leader, opportunity, right? But you can also remove or add this list. And on the right of that, you have something called Advanced Find. Advanced Find allows you to basically search specific tables and query any data within that specific table, right? And then you have this settings icon here that gives you a few things. You have about. About is where you get the version, the name, and the version of the application. Typically, when most of the time you open up a support case, it'll ask you what is the version. So you have the client version and the server version and the client version, right? So the server version is basically the backend, which is built on C#. And then we have the client version, which is a combination of HTML, CSS, and some other custom components. All right, so with that in the top right here, you have the name that you logged in. Again, you need a license and a role will be assigned for you to get into the system, right? On the left here, you do have your navigation area, right? At the very top, you always get your dashboard, right? This is by default. Again, everything that you see here can be customized, can be moved around and rearranged. So you get your dashboard. Again, these are just out-of-box dashboard that you get. You can build your own, right? And dashboard basically will include some charts, right? Or lists, or different kind of charts, right? Bar chart, pie charts, whichever one you want to. So the first thing you do is you create a list which has a specific filter condition that will show a specific set of records, and then you feed that into a chart, right? So here you can see this is my work. These are the work that's been assigned to me, right? You have a pie chart here which shows leads by source. Then you have recent calls. This is just a list of calls. You have the pipeline stage where you can see what your assignment, your work, where the leads are actually located in the stage, right? You have the qualify stage, develop, propose, and then close. When you close, you can also specify if you close as a won or as lost. Then on the right here, you have opportunities, right? So again, we talked about sales, you have leads and opportunities management. But you have a dashboard in all the application, you have a dashboard at the very beginning. You can customize the dashboard, right? For this one is specifically for sales module. We have the sales accelerator. This is basically where you do most of your work. On the left here, you have your work list, right? And you can click on that. For example, you have, right? When you click on that, it will open, these are the leads, basically. You click on that, it will open the leads on the right here with a little more details about that lead, right? At the very top here, you do have what I was telling the business process flow that you can navigate the lead through. Okay? That corresponded to what we did the dashboard as those pipeline phases. You have qualified, develop, propose, and close. So you can, along the way, when you work that, you can, it's been qualified, right? Now you can go ahead and you can make conditions whereby certain things have to be met before you move that to the next stage. Again, this business process flows can be created and applied to all other modules that we've seen. Marketing, marketing field service as well. And then you can move that next stage once it qualifies, right? You can click on that. It will tell you if there's anything missing, right? No, you need to select an opportunity for that, right? And then you can move it across that. But this is for sales agent. This is basically where they're going to be working on, right? You have the summary page, which is the summary tabs. We can, again, customize these tabs. You have the details page, which is basically, again, can be customized, but this is the details of that lead, right? What the name is, what company they work for, right? Again, you might have captured this information in an event or something like that, right? Again, when lead meets matches the certain criteria to be converted to an opportunity now, we feel like we can actually now have a sale with this lead, you qualify that into an opportunity. Right, so this is a lead, and the easy ways today to know is you always have the entity name right here. Right, this is a lead. This tells you which form you're using. You can create multiple forms, which will show you different information. And again, you can assign those forms to specific reps or specific roles, so that within the same entity, different people can see different information. So there's a lot that you can customize. The other thing that we can look at here is once, again, you feel that this lead can be converted into an opportunity now, you can click qualify. There's a qualify button here at the very top. It's called form ribbon. You can qualify, right? What this is going to happen is it's going to check to make sure that all the fields are populated, everything is correct, right? What happens when you qualify a lead? The system will go ahead and create an account, which is basically the company that that person belongs to, if it does not exist. And also go ahead and create a contact if it does not exist. And now we'll create an opportunity for you to track. So this process will create 3 different records if they do not exist. If they exist, they will just tie them back to it. Right, so that is a qualifying a lead into an opportunity. Just need to make sure that at least we have gone through all the processes at the very top. Right below my work on the left here, we do have activities. Activities is basically anything that supports a major entity. You have tasks, phone calls, emails, notes, attachments, appointments. Those are all called activities. So every application has an activity section here, and you can add and remove which one you want to see. In the case here, we can see we have tasks, right? And you can see your tasks organized here in the sense that, which one is open, right? And you can move that through this kind of like Kanban table here. This is complete or it's canceled, right? Again, every time you move, there are certain fields that you need to populate. Okay. So that's how you track your tasks for the day, right? And then you have calls, right? If you are handling calls, this is where you'll see the call history, where, who it came from, right? What the subject was. And again, you can initiate calls from contacts if you want to. And you can also customize which omni-channel you want to use when you initiate calls. You can integrate with Zoom So that open up the Zoom app automatically and tracks that conversation back in Dynamics. So you can also do Teams. Right. So, and then below that, you have pipeline, right, where you have to actually have your leads. Again, this is a list of leads. Very similar view that we had as a sales accelerator, because leads is main thing for the sales guys, right? You're chasing those leads and be able to convert them into opportunities. So again, it's almost a very similar view that we've just covered up there, right? Here you can see right below the leads information, you can see how that came through. If it's an email or a phone call, right? You'll see that through there. But from here, you have the phone, right? You can just click on this phone icon here to initiate a call, right? So once you configure that with Zoom, then you can go ahead and make that phone call. You can also do that with Teams. By default, it's going to be Teams for sure. I know I'm going fast because we're running out of time. Any questions up to that point? Okay.
One.
Yeah.
I know for sure that we've gone through this quite a bit, and we worked with a lot of our customers to pull data out of our Dynamics into some level of a dashboard. But for the team and for our customers, how hard is it to connect to Dynamics and pull data out?
So you want to pull data out into a different system? You want to save it somewhere?
Into like a Power BI report.
So the multiple ways you can export data from Dynamics 365, right? Number one, the very simplest one that again may not be as robust is Excel, right? You go into your leads, onto your contacts, for example. This is right. Every Dynamics 365 list view will have this option here, right? Export to Excel, a CSV or as XML, right? XML, CSV, or you can also do, this is Excel Online or a static Excel worksheet, right? That's the easiest one. The second one is to write a Cloudflow that will extract the information and send it to wherever you want to send it. Yeah. So, which is basically something we did for Lambda Legal, right? They have all the records where we have a workflow runs through, use the Dataverse connector, right? Because it's always lying in Dataverse. Pull the records, transform it if you want to, and then send it to another endpoint, right? Or wherever you want to send it to. So those are the two main ones.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, getting data into Dynamics 365 is basically the same way you can import using Excel, right? You can, so here you can see import from Excel, right? So CSV or whatever, right? This is export. You can also write your own automation, or you can use certain sites that are out there like Kingsway Soft or Scribe, right? That you can use to pull data most of the time from another SQL server into Dynamics 365.
Thank you.
No worries. Right. So we have leads. Again, leads can be converted into now opportunities, right? And then opportunities now go through their own pipeline, right? A lot of views here that you can customize, right? So you can basically see on the timeline how your opportunities do look like, right? Which ones are in qualify, develop, those phases that we talked about. But at the end of an opportunity, you can close that opportunity as one, right? Or close. Every opportunity has an estimated revenue. So if it's one, then that boils down into the revenue pipeline. If it's lost, then you can now also track that. If it's won and lost, you also you specify who. You can specify what, so you can close as lost, right? Or can close as won, right? If you do that, you also have to specify who the competitor is so that you can track and see who did I lose against. So there's quite a lot of things that you could do there. And then of course, focus is this is basically AI enabled that runs through your records and provides you things like, revenue focused, right? And based on other similar opportunities, how likely are you going to win an opportunity? Base records in almost every module is contacts and accounts. Accounts, it's at the top level, right? These are the companies, right? And then contacts basically are just individuals. And so this, you can use them both, or you can use one, right? Typically, when you use them both, you have an accounts and contacts. You have a company that especially if you are doing B2B kind of transactions, business to business, you're dealing with accounts, right? Those are companies. But now, even within those companies, you have specific contacts that you're talking to. So that's why a contact can belong to a company, right? In some cases, if your business is just B2C, you're dealing directly with individual customers, then you may not need to leverage accounts. So again, depending on your structure, that is highly, highly customizable. Any questions for the sales? I know there's a lot to cover. This is just a quick overview again. If you will be interested in covering specific areas, or the customer has a need for a demo for specific module that you think will be beneficial for them, then you can definitely let us know. All right, we will move into the next one, which is the customer service, right? Again, the navigation is basically the same. We'll not cover that, but the main thing is, again, you have the dashboard at the very top, different dashboards that you can open up, you can create, right? Again, below that, as mentioned, you have activities, emails, tasks, all kind of activities out there, right? Anytime you see my in any of the records, that means the records have been filtered to you as the owner. Every record in Dynamics 365 has an owner. There's specific metadata that are there by default when you create an entity. Created on, created by, last modified on, last modified by, the owner field. All right, at the very top here, you have a lot of activities that you could create. Task, email, appointment, phone, later, all that stuff can be tracked in here. Again, I say, below that, we have the base contacts, you have accounts and contacts. Again, one beautiful thing about the, how integrated Dynamics 365 ecosystem is this contacts and accounts can be shared across all these other modules. So sales, marketing, field service can access the same contacts. Or if you want to limit that, you can also write just filters that show specifically which ones can be shown on the other side. All right, social profile, this is basically where you set up the social profiles for customers like Facebook and all that for you to leverage that omnichannel. The main area for customer service is cases. Right, for sales it was leads and opportunities. For customer services, cases. Right, so this is basically, again, support cases of all kind of nature. You can customize that the way you want it to look like, but basically open up a form here. You see who the contact is, right? And then you can also add who from the contact, right? The companies. This company is coming from the contact itself, right? This is where now you have that two relationship, company and contact, right? But you have the contact here was associated with that case. What the case information is right here, right? Which specific product that case is associated with, right? Your case summary here in the middle. Again, Copilot runs through this and it can give you some suggestions, right? You have what is called the timeline, tracks all the activity that is happening on that record. Any email, any appointment, any phone call that happens is tracked all through here. So you have a timeline of everything that happens. Right? Again, same thing here at the very top here. We do have what's called business process flow. Right? Again, you can customize. It's slightly different from what we saw in the opportunities and leads. But again, you can customize that to meet your needs. Right, so basically at the very top you have ribbon buttons, the dash, things that are specific to that entity. You can also customize this to add your own buttons if you want to, and functionality. But here are the cases, right? You can resolve the case at the very end. I've gone through everything. It's going to ask you, it'll look through that and say, okay, well, you have two open activities. You have open phone calls or appointments that's not been completed, right? You can either go back and look at them by clicking just here, or you can also just say, you know what, confirm. Once you confirm, this is automatically going to close out or cancel those open activities before it resolves the case. And you can say problem resolved, information provided. You can add onto this list of how it was resolved, and you can also add description. Right, and from there you can get it resolved. Any questions up to that point? I know there's a lot to cover, right? Right below here, you have other things that we could quickly look at. You can do knowledge search, right? You can basically type what you're looking for. It will go through all the knowledge articles and it'll bring you some responses. You can also do, this is where you build your knowledge articles for cases, right? So how to do something, how to whatever, right? Return and exchanges. Somebody's asking about returns and exchanges, right? You have an article here that can be sent out quickly to them, right? You can create your email templates, email signatures if you want to. So a lot of things you can do. Go ahead, Leonard.
So I know we do have Copilot that can be able to touch into this knowledge base here. But what if we had an external agent? Would it still be able to tap into it?
So right now, what I know is just Copilot is enabled within the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for external, then in this case, we might have to leverage the, the Power Platform Cloud Flows to be able to do that search outside. Yeah.
Is there APIs?
Yes, there are APIs available, yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Good question. Any other questions? You guys have been very, very quiet. All right, so we'll jump ships here and go into the marketing. Marketing has been rebranded to call Customer Insights. Okay, so if you look around, you don't see Dynamics 365 Marketing, just know it's also called Customer Insights, specifically journeys. Right, again, we do see that we have contacts here and leads, right? So again, part of the, you send your campaigns to contacts, and then you create your lead scoring criteria. When that contact meets a certain threshold, you create them as a lead, right? And then this lead will pop up in the sales as a lead, and the salespeople can pick it up from there and continue, right? So that's how they're connected. Contact, send campaign to it, you create a lead, this lead gets into the market, into the sales module. Then, so again, marketing is basically to send campaigns. This is where you create the journeys that we're talking about, what journey you want the customer to go through. So if you open this one, right? So this is, you want to set up a trigger, right? What do you want to trigger? You want to send it to be sent at midnight, or what should trigger that? And then, right, if this is an event, you can say if a contact checks in, then send an email, right? And now you can build this, add a lot of other stuff, wait, right? Add a branch, and either send a text message or an email or push notification to their phone and all that stuff. So this is how a lot of stuff that you can do here to build that the journey. All right. So we won't go into very much details, but again, we can cover this at its own session. There's a lot going on. But so you build that, and then it sends out the emails, follows through that, applies the same journey to every contact. And then as I said, you could have a section whereby, a branch whereby if they don't open the email within 3 days, you resend it, right? Or if they open it, you send another one after 2 days, right? Or send a text message or create an activity for somebody to follow up. You can customize all that. Okay. Again, analytics is basically dashboards, Power BI. This is one of those that has Power BI embedded into it by default. So you can see that loading the data, right? And now you can see a lot of insights here. Right, right below here we'll have what's called segments. This is where you create a segment of specific customers based on whatever criteria you want. For example, I have Texas customers, right? And the condition is very simple, like, give me contacts where state is equals to Texas, right? So you can customize that based on whatever you want. So this is just my condition here, right? It could be anything. That's how you create your segment. Segment is basically a grouping of customers that you wish to send the campaigns to. And then those customers are basically contacts that will transform into leads and go into the sales. So those are the main thing in the marketing is the journeys, building the journeys. The main thing in the customer service is the cases and the queues. Queues is basically where all the cases will come through, and you can assign that. The main thing in the sales is basically the leads and opportunities. They all share contacts accounts across. Right, so that's a quick overview of what customer insights is, and then we'll look at the last one here. This is the field service. Again, this is work orders. You have work orders that come through. We need somebody to go and fix an X-ray machine at a certain hospital in downtown Dallas, right? That comes as a work order, right? We have the schedule board, which basically shows us basically who's scheduled, who has availability. Okay. You have the bookings, which basically shows what times have been booked by who. It's just taking a little bit of time to load here, but yeah. And then you have resource requirements, time off requests. This is where basically you track, who's off, and based on that, it fits into resource scheduling so that you do not assign somebody a task when they're not there. And then you also, yeah. So this is schedule board. Basically, you can see, okay, we have Alan Steiner today. It's not been scheduled anywhere, and you can go ahead and schedule people out there. You also have time entries, which basically you can have people submit their time on here. And you can also automate this, that whenever they, automatically picks up automatically from the schedule, right? And automatically create time entries. And then you have accounts and contacts as usual, right? One thing that will fit into here is cases, because basically we are responding to a case most of the time. So cases now flow from the customer service and support module into here. So they're all connected in some way, right? And then you can enable other entities if you want to be able to support other functionalities. I know this is a lot. It's been too fast. We had only 1 hour, right? And we actually over by 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Any questions or feedback or anything that you'd like to see a little bit of more next time?
Yeah. Okay, let me go first. So thank you. Good presentation. Question, especially for, let's say, the field service. Are they just available on the desktop format, or are they mobile if some of these tasks need to be done outside the office?
Yes, there's a mobile app available. There's a mobile app available provided by Dynamics 365 team. Yeah.
Across,
so they have mobile and offline access. So just in case they're not connected, they can just continue to work on the mobile app. When they get connected, now it'll push the data back out into the cloud.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
I have one, George. Go ahead, Sammy.
Okay, so on my end, I do not have a question, but this was a great presentation. It was good to see how the overview of the entire piece of Dynamic 365. Yeah, and I think I am excited about the field service management piece, and I think it's something interesting that I've learned today. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Appreciate that comment. Again, this is just a small piece of the Dynamics RISC-V ecosystem. So we'll continue, of course, to add other modules for demos. And one thing is, when you're working with the customers out there, just, at least now you have some idea of what other tools we have that can help them. So, if you see an opportunity out there, just let us know and we'll step in and provide a more targeted demo for them. All right, Leonard?
George, I have one.
Yep.
So with the modules,
Yes.
does the data ever cross from one module to the next? So let's say, for instance, we are doing the customer service and that leads into the sales module. Does that ever happen?
Yes. So
Okay,
behind the scenes is all database, right? Account is just like one account table, right? So this, for example, you have your leads here. Let me go back to the grid. So we have this leads here. This is my open leads. And this lead could definitely, if we go to, this will link with marketing, I believe, yeah, right? So those leads, you can actually create your, what are the records? Let me go back to read-only view. Yeah. So you can, it's just basically a filter behind the scenes, right? Where, record exists where, right? So, but you can have those leads from here. That's why they're all connected, right? You essentially want the lead created from the marketing to be able to show up in the sales so that they can automatically pick up. So this records, you just expose them, but through a filter, right? Whichever one you want to show up where, you can really configure that. But yeah, it's the same lead table as long as they're within the same environment, that is. It's the same lead table, it's the same contact table, it's the same account table. The reason why you don't see this linking is because if we look at these trials could not be created all at the same time in the same environment. So if we go here, right? So you see they're created as different environments. Okay. So if they're within the same environment, yes, the records do crossover. Does that answer your question, Leonan?
yes, it does.
Okay. Yeah. So again, with the work orders, with cases in field service, you will have those cases come from the customer service hub. Again, they have to be within the same database environment. Okay. Any other questions? All right. If no other questions, thank you very much for your time today. Right. I know, again, it was a lot of information that we went by too fast. But again, it's just the beginning. So if you feel like you need something else that we need to cover, if you have a customer that has, an area that we could improve with these solutions, let us know. Thank you very much. For those that is evening, have a good evening. For those here in Texas, have a good day. We'll talk to you guys soon.